Released August 16th, 2017 for PC VR and May 1st, 2018 on PSVR 1 by developer and publisher Tripwire Interactive. Killing Floor Incursion brought the franchise to VR with a short, story-driven solo or co-op campaign. I only dipped in this years ago when I just started out in VR and didn't spend more than 15 minutes with it. So I'll have to say, my first experience with Killing Floor was the recently released Killing Floor 3, and while my time on and off stream was entertaining, the Killing Floor 3 gameplay model, running around aimlessly, doing the same things over and over with very little in the way of rhyme or reason, really isn't for me. Multiplayer PvP or PvE experiences without some semblance of a structured campaign just never really did it for me and was never able to hold my attention or interest for very long. Now with Incursion and its linear campaign, it leaves the question, did I have a better time with this aged PSVR 1 experience than with the shiny new Killing Floor 3? Crazy, yeah, but let's see. Watch Season 12 of Lab Video Game TV in 25 Caribbean countries on Flow One. Download the Caribbean's premium streaming app, Stream Blue, to watch on the go. Check out the Lab Video Game TV's gaming news every Thursday at 4 p.m. during the Sage Projects on Ontario's Island Radio 101.3 FM. Now let's dissect this relic, Killing Floor Incursion.
Right. Back at it, Lieutenant.
I watched several videos leading up to and post-launch for Killing Floor 3, most negative, saying things like, this is not Killing Floor, expressing disappointment and even disgust because of an apparent deviation from the original Killing Floor formula. But even though I watched these videos, had a few hours in on Killing Floor 3, I still didn't get what all the fuss was about. And this, I suppose, is mainly because I have no previous experience with the franchise. Can't miss what you never had. Now, Incursion being my first foray, I'll just go out on a limb and make any judgment, any comparison based on things I preferred in Incursion. The dead giveaway here is, like I mentioned, there's a story, there's an actual campaign. There's a reason to run through the entire experience with or without a partner or friend. Experiencing Killing Floor 3 alone is simply a dull experience. It's designed so you can do it, but plowing through hordes of Zeds over and over on the same maps and the same objectives, rinse and repeat, regardless of leveling up your gear, is gonna get old. Come on. I mean, I guess there is an audience out there for that, but I'm not a part of it.
You imbecile!
Enough of my comparisons, as I'm also aware of how asinine comparing a nearly 10-year-old VR experience that's basically just a spin-off and not a proper representation of the franchise to this official flat screen entry must seem. But I had to get that off my chest, as the main reason for doing this review, outside my desire to clear out my PSVR 1 backlog by doing some old VR reviews, is because I recently streamed Killing Floor 3 a few times, watched the reviews and was simply curious to find out what all the hoopla was about. And since VR is my preferred way to experience any title, I wasn't about to go dig up Killing Floor 1 or 2, so here we are.
You stupid bastard!
The story of Incursion is what I like to call appreciated. It's not deep, more weak and forgettable, but still highly appreciated. It's also not treated like a side note. It's there with you the entire way through, as these two persons chat with you on separate channels on and off throughout your mission. The entire campaign is based on what they're saying, so the story, although not the most engaging, doesn't feel like an afterthought.
The Zed data. You were after it as well. The virus was leading you here the whole time.
You're even presented with 3 different endings based on a decision you must make at the end. And since this is a very short experience, this light origin story is never able to stretch itself thin or overstay its welcome.
I can get it done. I'll get it done. Last stop, Lieutenant. Every other server has crashed, but thanks to you, we're still online.
In a nutshell, it works.
Hey mate, nice to see you again. I'm about to blow your mind.
Over in sound, we've got good voice acting. No complaints here. All characters were voiced by competent voice actors. The music is solid and so are the sound effects. There are times when you have a task to complete, and this being the kind of experience it is, where the developer never wanted you to feel stuck for too long, where the devs basically hold your hand the entire way through, the character doing most of the talking, revealing most of the plot. Emma Rose will give you clues on what to do next, should you be taking your sweet time figuring these puzzles out though, which are never very complex by the way. But should you dawdle with any of these tasks for too long, Emma will keep repeating the same instructions over and over. Can't speak for others, but that kind of thing generally bothers me.
Have you found the data? Try putting any drive you find in the reader. There has to be one of them.
So there was that hiccup in the audio department. In visuals, now there are two things I should have probably pointed out earlier, a disclaimer if you will. When reviewing older titles, there has to be some leeway. Pardons must be granted based on the title's age, especially PSVR 1 titles, for the horrible move controllers. I could create an entire video on the utter stupidity on Sony's part for creating those. But my point is, the visuals are bad, but not bad simply because of the time this experience was created. I've seen many PSVR 1 titles that looked better than this one, and Killing Floor Incursion actually looks better in the headset than these flat visuals. Now, these aren't god-awful visuals, but I usually take shots at native Quest visuals by saying PSVR 1 visuals still look better than anything on the Quest. Well, this isn't one such case.
I've got nothing.
Over in gameplay, on startup, we can choose from story mode or holdout mode. I've never experienced holdout mode because it's what's written on the can. Survival horde modes never interest me. I made this clear earlier. In my comparisons to Killing Floor 3, you may experience either of these modes solo or in co-op. I never attempted a co-op run for two reasons. First, I doubt there will be anyone available at this point in Incursion's life, and second, I really just wanted to experience this on my own pace, my own way, zero pressure.
Boom! Shocker, right?
As you go through the campaign, you unlock other levels, which aren't many. This is a very short and easy experience. Then, in settings, we've got sound, gameplay, which includes VR settings and controls, and there are the credits. Very bare bones in the settings department, but enough to get you through. Options like smooth or click turning, free or teleportation locomotion are the most important, along with the options to remove comfort settings like vignettes and such. There will come times where you need to jump. There's no jump button, so you'll be forced to teleport here, which is fine. I really don't appreciate platforming in VR anyway. Where difficulty in Killing Floor Incursion is concerned, the only real difficulty here are the move controllers and the PSVR 1's camera. Yeah, the hardware will be your only hurdle. This is really designed to be a get in and get out quickly experience. I've got my fill of practice from way back with titles like Blair Witch VR and Survive. I've experienced enough PSVR 1 titles by now to be able to handle myself well enough in any PSVR 1 title. So I was able to navigate my way through this with minimal frustration. Despite these mentioned hurdles, the loop here is similar to Zombie Army VR. You're listening to a lady over a radio or whatever communication device you got. She tells you what needs to be done while working and getting said tasks done. Zeds come at you in waves, while barriers prevent you from going any further. Complete the objectives by either clearing the horde or figuring out the puzzle, which may require the use of a special flashlight, which highlights corrupted parts of the simulation you're stuck in. Corrupted code, Emma calls it.
I'm seeing something weird in that room. Yeah, there's some infected code in there somewhere. Grab your flashlight and switch it to scanning mode.
Once you've completed the task, the barriers go down and it's on to the next thing. Your objectives are like I alluded to earlier. Well spelled out for you so you shouldn't feel stuck. Emma tells you what to do. This little device called Node acts as a waypoint. Your flashlight has a mode where it highlights objects and corrupted code, and the other dude who starts speaking to you off air later in the campaign leaves you clear hints as well.
It looks like Colin set up chemicals in some sort of mixing machine. I'm betting bomb maker. What do you think? Bomb maker? See if he left us any directions.
As you proceed through the stages and levels, more weapons become available, and you're able to choose from a larger loadout at the beginning of the next stage. Your arsenal never expands too much though, but this being the bite-sized experience it is, I never got too fussy. You have 2 handguns, a shotgun, a sniper rifle, a submachine gun, knives that are probably machetes, and an axe. You can also use severed limbs of your fallen enemies as a weapon, but I never saw the need to resort to that, as ammo is everywhere and constantly respawns, and the axe never breaks. You've also got grenades. I was pleasantly surprised at how well throwing grenades felt here. To this day, much bigger titles have yet to get throwing right in VR, but it worked well in Killing Floor Incursion.
Looking with the other, turning the pin and throwing the grenade. Just be careful not to blow yourself up. You can store the grenade in the holsters.
At the end of each stage, there's a boss battle. The boss battles, like the rest of the experience, aren't too hard. Easily dispatched once you keep moving. There was one annoying one, where I was forced to use only my sniper rifle, while switching to a sidearm for the stragglers. Because of how clunky the move controllers feel, coupled with the PS4's camera, this got real frustrating. Then after finally defeating this boss fight, I experienced my first crash, so I had to do it all over again. It was easier the second time though. Experience caused wisdom, I guess.
Fantastic work, Lieutenant.
The final boss was actually the easiest. Once you know exactly what to do, it's a breeze. Coming from someone who generally dislikes the whole idea and mechanic and general principles surrounding boss encounters over the decades, I really appreciated this. This made getting the 3 endings a whole lot more tolerable.
Maybe shake your meat a bit.
Collision detection here is also non-existent. This works in your favor, however. When the going gets tough and the horde's numbers become overwhelming, you can simply walk through them. Just keep moving. So if you need to reload, get health, pick up ammo while they're on you, you don't have to stress much. You're never really between a rock and a hard place. Other than the hardware limitations being an obstacle, the old school early VR mechanics may also feel awkward, like reloading, particularly with a sniper rifle and picking up items. More noticeable than awkward, I guess. To wrap this up, Killing Floor Incursion was entertaining. If I entered this engagement with lofty, unrealistic expectations, I would have been pissed, frustrated, and terribly disappointed. But I knew what I was getting myself into from the get-go. That, and I generally like revisiting old hardware and software. I've been having a better time with older titles than I have with the shiny new ones. And like I said, I like a sense of purpose. So, as janky as Killing Floor Incursion is, as outdated as it is in every conceivable way, I still had a better time with Killing Floor Incursion than I did with its shiny new counterpart, Killing Floor 3. Now, if Killing Floor 3 went the route of, let's say, Zombie Army VR, yes, I know that wasn't well received either, but I was never one to go with the crowd. So, if Killing Floor 3 went down that road, where there was an actual campaign, a reason to be mowing down hordes of these creatures, and was in VR, I would have liked it a whole lot more. Even if it wasn't in VR. The whole idea of creating an experience where multiplayer is the main draw is greatly unappealing to me. When value is determined by the engagement of others, there will always be a huge problem. So, I'm gonna invest in a title that I'll only be able to get the most out of depending on the moods, availability, and feelings of others, mostly strangers. Nah, that'll never work for a loner like me. Besides, even if you're not a loner, an introvert, antisocial even, how many times have some social butterfly purchased a PvP or PvE title just for the servers to become empty months after release? Food for thought, maybe.
You stupid bastard!
Thank you for watching. If you like my content, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. If, on the other hand, I found a way to piss you off with this one, then take the logical course of action. Dislike, unsub, leave a feisty comment voicing your disgust and displeasure. Either way, I won't hold it against you. Our game is never over.
Good work, partner. The beers will definitely be on me.